Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are fit and fine. Children, this is your general knowledge video class and we are going to study today chapter number 22 from Antarctica. Okay, so this is really a very interesting topic, Antarctica, and we are going to discuss and we are going to see whatever the things, whatever the vegetations are here, we are going to see. Okay, so children, today is 12th August 2021 and this is your general knowledge class. Class 7. And today's topic is from Antarctica. From Antarctica, children. So we are going to learn about Antarctica, its vegetations, its animals, its birds, which kind of birds we can see in the Antarctica and in this region here. As you all know, Antarctica is the Earth's southernmost continent. Okay, children, covered with ice in most areas. It is the coldest and the driest continent, okay, on the earth and has the highest average elevation. Now this is the coldest area of the earth and driest also. And this is called Antarctica and it is situated in the earth's southernmost continent. Okay, so children, today we are going to learn about, I'll show you few images of its vegetation and just like Antarctica hair grass, we will discuss about that, and Antarctica pearl bird, and after that penguin. Here you can see very special type of bird, that is penguin. We will discuss about penguin also. So and after that we will discuss whales commonly found in Antarctica are blue, sei, humpback, mink, fin and sperm and killer whales. So these type of the variety of whales we will discuss in this video. So children, let's start our class. Today's topic is from Antarctica, children. Today we are going to talk about Antarctica. Antarctica is Earth's southernmost continent. It contains the geographic South Pole and is situated in Antarctic region of southern hemisphere. Almost entirely south of Antarctica's circle and is surrounded by the Southern Ocean. Children, it is the fifth largest continent and nearly twice the size of Australia. It is by far the least populated continent with around 5,000 people in the summer and around 1,000 in the winter. About 98% of Antarctica is covered by ice that averages 1.9 kilometer in thickness, with extent to all but the McMurdo dry valleys are the northernmost reaches of the Antarctica Peninsula. Antarctica on average is the coldest, driest and windiest continent and has the highest average elevation of all the continents. Most of the Antarctica is a polar desert with annual precipitation of 200 milliliter along the coast and far less inland. Yet 80% of the world freshwater reserves are stored there, enough to raise global sea levels by about 60 meters if all of were to melt. The temperature in Antarctica has dropped to minus 89.2 centigrade. Okay, as measured from space. Though the average for the third quarter, the coldest part of the year, is minus 63 degrees Celsius. Organisms native to the Antarctica include many types of the algae, bacteria, fungi, plants, protista, and certain animals such as mites, nematodes, penguins, seals, and tardigrades. Vegetation, when it occurs, is tundra. Antarctica was the last region on Earth to be discovered, likely unseen until 1820 when the Russian expedition of the Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen and Mikhail Lazarev on Vostok and Mimi sighted the Fimbul ice shelf. The continent remained largely neglected for the rest of the 19th century because of its harsh environment. Lack of easily accessible resources and isolation. In January 1840, land at Antarctica was discovered for the first time. Almost simultaneously by the United States exploring expedition under Louis Charles Wilkes and the separate French expedition under Jules Dumont Urville. The latter made a temporary landing. The Wilkes expedition, though it did not make a landing, remained long enough to the region to survey the map some 800 miles of the continent. The first confirmed landing was by a team of Norwegians in 1895. Children, Antarctica is governed by parties to the Arctic Treaty System. 12 countries signed the Antarctic Treaty in 1959 and 38 have signed it since then. The treaty prohibits military activities, mineral mining, nuclear explosion, and nuclear waste disposal. It supports scientific research and protects the continent ecology. Between 1,000 and 5,000 people from many countries reside at research station scattered across the continent. So children, this is amazing place full of ice, and this etymology, the name Antarctica is a romanized version of the Greek compound word and feminine of antrakito, antratikos, meaning opposite of the Arctic, opposite of the north. Aristotle wrote in this book of meteorology about an Antarctic region in 350 BC. Marianus of Tyre reportedly used the name in his unpreserved world map from the 2nd century CE. The Roman author Higgins and Alpheus used for the South Pole the Romanized Greek name Polus Antarcticus, from which derived the Old French Pole Antarctique, modern Polo Antarctic, attested in 1270, and from there the Middle English Pole Antarctic in a 1391 technical treatise by Geoffrey Chaucer a treatise on the Aristolabe, referring to the modern Antarctic pole. Mathian's ringman called Terra Australis Ora Antarctic in 1555. Now its name had been changing regularly. The long imagined but undiscovered South Polar continent was originally called Terra Australis, sometimes shortened to the Australia as seen in the woodcut illustration, tilted sphere of the winds, contained in an astrological textbook published in the Frankfurt 1545. In the early 19th century, the colonial authorities in Sydney removed the Dutch name the New Holland. Instead of inventing the name of the replaced it, they took the name Australia, leaving the South Polar continent nameless and for some 80 years. During this period, geographers had to make with their clumsy phrases such as the Antarctic continent. They searched for a more poetic replacement, suggesting various names such as Ultima, Antipodia. Eventually, Antarctica was adopted as the continent name in 1890s. The first use of the name is attributed to the Scottish cartographer John George Bethmovave. So, children, this is the history, this is the change of name, history of the exploration. Antarctica has no indigenous population according to the Meroe oral history in New Zealand. Huitu Rangiora, also known and his crew explored the Antarctic waters in the early 7th century of the vessels T-Y-O-L-T-A. Accounts name the area Ta-e-Uka-Opia, which describe a frozen ocean, and arrowroot, which resembles fresh snow when scraped. So, children, the oldest known human remains in Antarctica was a skull and that belongs to a young Yaghan woman on the Yamana beach at the South Shetland island, which dates back to the 1819 to 1825. She was found in 1985. So, children, the oldest known human remains in Antarctica was a skull that belongs to a young Yoghan. Okay, children, belief in the existence of the Terra Australis, a vast continent in the far south of the globe to the balance the northern lands of Europe, Asia, and North Africa, had prevailed since the times of the Ptolemy. And in the 1st century AD, even in the date of 7th century, after explorers had found the South America and Australia but not part of the fabled Antarctica, geographers believed that the continent was much larger than its actual size. Integral to the story of the origin of Antarctica's name is that it was not named Terra Australis. This name was given to the Australia instead. Because of the misconception that no significant landmass could exist further south, explorer Matthew Flinders in particular has been credited with the popularization, the transfer of the name Terra Australis to Australia. He justified the titling of the book A Voyage to the Terra Australis by writing in the introduction. So, children, this name is derived and this name was kept that time of this region, that is Antarctica. Now, children, if we will going to talk about the geography of this land, okay, children, this continent, so we can see that position asymmetrically around the South Pole and largely south of the Antarctic Circle. Antarctica is the southernmost continent and is surrounded by the Southern Ocean. Alternately, it may be considered to be the southernmost continent and is surrounded by the Southern Ocean, surrounded by the Southern Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Ocean, or by the southern waters of the world ocean. There are a number of rivers and lakes in Antarctica. The longest river being the Onyx. The largest lake, Vostok, is one of the largest subglacial lakes in the world. Okay, children. So, uh, Antarctica covers more than 40 million kilometers, making it fifth largest continent and 1.3 times as large as Europe. The coastline measures 17,968 kilometers and is mostly characterized by ice formation as a following. You can see ice formation, you can see the ice mountains, snow mountains over here, and the lakes and the streams are also covered by this snow. Now if you will see this grass, that is the Despensia antarctica. The name, the biological name is, botanical name you can see, Despensia antarctica. So Despensia antarctica, the Arctic Antarctic hairgrass. Now is one of the two flowering plants native to the Antarctica, the other being Colobothus quantensis, yani Arctic pea wort, that we are going to discuss today. They mainly occur on the southern Orkney Island, the South Shetland Island, and along the western Arctic Peninsula. A recent warming that tide has increased germination and thus number of the seedlings and plants, also extending their range southward to the cover larger areas. Reports indicate 25-fold increases in their numbers. So children, this is one of the grass which you can see in the Antarctic region. Now you can see it's looking like hair, children. Looking like hair, children. Okay, so it's having a color also, green color. Okay, children. So you can see these pictures. These are the very rare photographs that you can see here. Now children, other plants also you can see, but it's very rare to see the Antarctic regions, different kind of plants. The plants of Antarctica seem almost impossible feat for a plant to survive in Antarctica because it's having a very harsh environment. So extremely cold temperatures, little sunlight and moisture. Poor soil quality and short growing period have deterred most species of the flora from successfully growing in the barren ecosystem. So children, despite the odds, there are still plants they have evolved especially to live in this condition. Okay, and have thrived where no others have dared to go. It may not be bountiful garden of the polychromatic blossoms, but taking a closer look, a little bit closer to the ground, will provide a glimpse into a very special and unique world of plant life. Children, here you can see it is in this stone. Near the stone you can find So if we will talk about how these grasses and these vegetations are growing over there. Approximately 200 million years ago, Antarctica belongs to the supercontinent called Gondwana, which included Australia, Africa, India, and South America. Here, many thousands of the species of a plant flourished for many millions of years. As the continents began to split away from each other around 145 to 66 million years ago, Antarctica drifted towards the South Pole. Most plants were able to survive and continue to grow during the continental movement. Soon the climate became much too cold, dry, and unsuitable for the sustaining most life forms. Fossilized remains of the plants, such as the southern beech, can be found in the western Antarctic peninsula and tell a fascinating story of a land that was once green and lush. Fossilized remains can be found in the softer, finer silt rocks where the glaciers have recently retreated. It is an amazing feeling to hold the fossil of the plant and hasn't existed on the continent for millions of years. So children, here you can see now here we are going to talk about Antarctic pearl wort. Pearl wort. Here you can see this is pearl wort, and although Antarctica is a cold, dry, and desolate place, life always finds a way, children. And currently, there are only two known species of flowering found on the continent. There are Antarctic hair grass that we have already seen. Okay, this is hair grass, and the second one is, if you can able to see, this is beautiful, and grows primarily in the Antarctic peninsula. The small concentrated tufts throughout the rocky areas. These plants are most commonly seen penguin colonies and can withstand high amount of the disturbance without the withering away. During their short growing period in summer, they must endure quite a bit of abuse from the incautious nature of the elephant seals, high wind speed, and the many tones of the penguin manure that are produced from the breeding colonies. Still, they stand strong and less at the foot in the diameter. Their complex deep root system keeps them well anchored within their habitats and allows them to easily absorb water and nutrients from their environment in the winter time. The hair grass loses its long, slender green leaves and can withstand freezing temperature without completely dying. Now, children, this is Antarctic pearl wort. The Colobactus quintus has a more cushion-like appearance and can grow to the whopping 5 centimeter in height. Unlike the hair grass, the pearl wort has small yellow flowers, and it very proudly display. The pearl wort can be most commonly found in rocky areas in the coastal region of the continent. Now children, here you can see this is pearl wort. Now children, since there aren't any flies, bees, or birds to help out with the pollination process, both plants rely on the wind to help them pollinate. Okay children, there is no shortage of wind during the summertime, making their reproductive process extremely simply. Additionally, both plants are self-pollinators, meaning that don't rely on other plants to help them reproduce. All they need in the wind to bring pollen from one small flower to the next flower on the same plant. This is an adaptation that has most likely evolved in the response to a harsh climate where plants are often widely spaced. With an increase in temperature throughout the peninsula due to the climate change, both plant species have experienced substantial expansion throughout their range. Now, here you can see, children, it's a beautiful uh, plant, and the Antarctic hairgrass and the pearlbud plants are members of the group the vascular plants. Okay, meaning that they contain complex vascular structure and transport nutrients throughout their leaves, stems, and roots. Non-vascular plants such as mosses, liverworts, lichens, and algae lack a root system and thus an efficient nutrients circulation system. Non-vascular plants are most commonly found near damp or moist area where direct water and nutrients absorption can easily take place. Antarctica alone contains 100 species of mosses, 25 to 30 species of the liverworts, and children 250 species of the lichens and over 700 species of the algae. It takes a real extremist to the live to such a the tutomolous habitat, and these extremists have fared well. Many of these plants are found in the rocky, interdial, and the moist habitats, and tends to the favor such sub-Antarctic island where climate and habitat are a bit more forgiving. So children, this is we have talked about two main plants of the Antarctic region, children. Now when we are children, we are talking about habitat, so we should or we talk about penguins also. So here children, you can see, so penguins are group of the aquatic flightless birds. Okay children, they live almost exclusively in the southern hemisphere. Only one species, the Galapagos penguin, is found north of the equator. Highly adapted for life in the water, penguins have contrasted dark and white plumage and the flippers for swimming. Most penguins feed on krill, fish, squid, and other forms of sea life which they catch the swimming under water. They spend roughly half to their lives on land and the other half in the sea. Although almost all penguin species are native to the southern hemisphere, they are not found only in areas with cold climate, such as Antarctica. In fact, only a few species of penguin live that far south. Several species are found in the temperature zone, and one species, the Galapagos penguin, lives near the equator. The largest living species is the emperor penguin. On average, adults are about 1.1 meter tall and weight 35 kgs. The smallest penguin species is the little blue penguin, also known as the fairy penguin, which stand around 33 centimeter and weight 1 kg. In general, today larger penguin inhabit colder regions, and smaller penguins inhabit region with the temperate or tropical climate. Some prehistoric penguins species were enormous, as tall as heavy as an adult human. There was great diversity of species in the substratic region, and at least one giant species in a region around 2,000 kilometers south of the equator, 35 MYA, in a climate decidedly warmer than today. I would like to tell you few facts about penguins. A group of penguins in the water is called raft, but on land they are called wedel. Okay, children. The black and white tuxedo look donned by most penguin species is a clever camouflage called the contra shading. Penguin may huddle together for several reasons. Penguins evolved to fly underwater. When they are swimming, the black on their back legs them blend in with the darkness of the ocean from predator weaving from above. Their white bellies help them blend in with the bright surface of the ocean when weaved by the predators and prey from below. Penguins may huddle together for several reasons. So I will give you few reasons that why the behavior helps these birds protect themselves from predators. In frigid habitats, huddling helps penguins retain warmth also. Penguin evolved to fly underwater. Most birds have hollow, air-filled bones to help them stay light for fight. Penguins adapted with the solid bones instead. This helped them swim because solid bones reduce buoyancy, the tendency to float. Penguins' thick fur aren't the only way these birds stay warm. A gland near the base of its tail provides waterproof oil. Penguins spend several hours each day covering their feathers with this oil and give extra attention to the task before swimming. Penguins lives in many locations and habitat. You can find them in Antarctica, Antarctic islands, Galapagos Islands off the coast of the Ecuador, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Peru, and Chile. Contrary to many popular holiday cartoons, you will never see penguin polar bear together in the wild. That's because penguin live south of the equator while polar bears north of the equator in the Arctic. Penguin feet are adapted to walk long distances. Some species of the penguin can march up to the about 60 miles across sea ice to get their breeding grounds. Penguin feet are also adapted to help the bird steer while swimming. They use their feet like rudders, angling them to help control direction. Many male penguins gift female penguin with rocks under to woo them. So children, according to some animal expert, the penguin is one of the most stimulating animal in the world. Penguin's body is taperated at the both ends and it has a large head, short neck and elongated body. This streamlined design helps penguin swim fast. So children, these are the special quality of penguins, and we will discuss more animals or the sea animals in our next video. So children, this is we are going to conclude this session. So we will meet again in our next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.